So, hello everyone, and welcome to our digital engagement and everyday AI session. I am Kuratulan, the executive assistant and the membership coordinator at the Council of Agencies Serving South Asian CASSA. And we are excited to have Carol, Shatananda, Richard with us to lead this conversation. Thank you so much for agreeing to do a session for us. And just a quick note before we begin, the session is being recorded and the resources will be shared afterward. Please note that the presentation slides will not be shared and AI note-taking tools like Otter, Fireflies are not permitted during the session to protect speaker content. And with that all, I will hand it over to Carol Shatananda Richard to introduce herself and get us started. Over to you, Carol.
Hey, thanks so much, Kurat, and thank you for the invitation. I'm really excited to be here speaking with you. Um, I am just going to share my screen, so give me a second. Okay. So I can't see the chat, right? So if Kurat will handle all of that, and just let me know, if Kurat just like pop in and let me know if things are not functioning or working. Um, Let me hide. Okay. All right, 1 second. There's all kind of things floating around. Okay. So hi. Thanks so much again. I'm really excited to be here with you at CASA and explore how we can level up our digital communications and use everyday AI tools to support that work. Um, I'm Carol. I'm currently the communications manager at North York Community House. North York Community House is an organization that um, builds strong, vibrant communities in Northwest Toronto. We've been working in the area for over 35 years. And um, for many years, I was the only communications person at Niche. And if any of you here do comms, you'll be familiar with this. So I have worked across the organization with frontline workers, volunteers, students, management, and also the senior team. Um, and I've done everything there needs to be done for communications for the organization over the past 7 years. So hopefully we will be able to um, find something here today that will help you no matter what work you do with your organization. In the nonprofit world, we don't really prioritize communications, which is a strange thing not to do. Most organizations will have strategic plans, and the focus is very much programs or very much services. But then there will be something about, oh, we should have good marketing or we should have good communications, but there's never clarity on what that means. So I'm really excited to see you all here today, and we're gonna jump in. Okay, so our goal today is really simple. The session is designed for nonprofits, for community-based organizations. It's to help you feel more confident with digital engagement and to demystify AI. So that it's not so overwhelming. I come to this as a communications professional, but digital engagement isn't just a job for a comms coordinator or a manager. It's something that helps you build trust, share your work, and advocate for your communities online. Even small actions can make your work, your programs, your organization more visible, accessible, and valued. So in terms of our agenda, this is what we're going to do. I'm just gonna hide the thumbnail. Okay, so here's what we'll walk through today. First, we'll get grounded by understanding who's in the room um, and where everyone is at. We will then talk about what digital communications or digital engagement is and how we can do it well, and how everyday AI can help us do this. And I want to leave time for question and answers at the end, and I'll be happy to sort of dive into anything specific that you're trying to work out or any other questions or challenges you might have. Okay, so we're gonna get on Menti. Um, I'm if you have used Menti before, then you know what to do with this. Kurat is going to put the link as well into the chat. Um, so I want to take a little time to understand who's here, right? So if you could pop over to Menti, and we're going to use Menti a fair bit today. So keep the window open. You can use the QR code to join on your phone or go to menti.com and put in the code. And keep the window on your either on your desktop or keep the app open on your phone because we're going to come back to it quite a bit. So if you could pop over, and once you're there, if you could just do, like the yeah, just hit the little like button here, and that way I'll know who's in the room. Okay, is everybody on there? If you're not, if you're having trouble, please reach out on the chat. But I'm gonna move to the next slide. Okay, great. So we have 7 folks in the room. And could you please type in your name and the organization that you're coming from today? Great, I see 8. So is anyone having trouble getting in? Feel free to unmute and let us know.
Yeah, please feel free to let us know, and I put the link in the chat as well.
Okay, hi Rhonda, welcome. Lovely, hi Luciana, Gilda, welcome. Welcome Ruth Lee. All right, I have 4 more folks who are on Menti, so I'm just going to wait for you guys to come on. So hello, Alfred. Hi, Azia. Isa. Hope I'm saying your names right. And just a couple more, just 2 more. Just waiting for, so we know who you are. Okay, so we have 6 folks who put in their names. We know we have 2 folks on Menti. If anyone's having trouble, let us know now. This is a good time because we are going to use Menti a fair bit, right? So let us know if you're having trouble. Okay, wonderful. Welcome, everybody. Next question. What is your role in your organization? What is your job title? We have a community coordinator. We have an ED. Nice. Just put in your job title super quick. So just want to know where folks are coming from. Case manager, social worker, project manager. I think we have another ED. Nice. Another case manager. For those of you who just joined the Zoom, we are on Menti right now. And so if you could pop in there and answer the questions, that would be great. Administrative assistant, welcome. If you've just joined the Zoom, please pop into Menti and answer the questions. We're just trying to figure out who's in the room, and welcome. Okay, this is great. So we have mostly folks who are on the program side or the admin side or are in leadership. So this is good. It's good for me to know. Okay, what are your biggest challenges with digital engagement? Please check all that apply. I don't know how. Mhm. I don't know how this is sort of still hanging out here. Anyway, we'll see. Um, okay, so what are your biggest challenges with digital engagement? Technology and tools are confusing, yes, for sure. There are so many and new coming up every second minute. Um, Three, technology and tools. Okay. Any others? I have about 8 folks on Menti at the moment, and it'll be great if the new folks join as well. So, is there anything else? Lack of clarity or strategy? Sure. It doesn't just have to be one thing. It could be more than one thing that is difficult, that is challenging, and often it is more than one thing. So, anything else? Great. Lack of clarity or strategy. Okay, we have 5 people. Where's my sixth person? Wonderful. Limited staff or skills. Okay, great. So yes, limited staff or skills, lack of clarity, technology tools. Um, and it's nice that folks are saying there's not, that not enough time is not a huge challenge, but you're actually dealing with more of sort of how to deal with this. So we'll get into that. Okay. So, who is responsible for digital communications at your organization? Do you have a dedicated comms person? Is it part of someone else's broader role? Do you just get a volunteer or a placement student to do it? Or are you just responsible for your own project or your own programs? Okay, you do have dedicated comm staff. That's amazing. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, that's really good. One person says other. The person who says other, could you put in the chat who that person is, like what the role is? And I can I'll open up the chat to just see. Um, okay, wonderful. It's really good to see that your organizations do have dedicated comm staff, which is really uh, amazing. Okay, and then you have outsourced. Okay, great. Thank you. Um, okay, and we have someone who says it's part of someone's broader role. Is there anyone else who wants to pitch in? All right, great. So this is actually pretty good. Um, and what communications channels are you or your organization already using? What channels are you using? Please check everything that pertains to you. Website, great. Everybody has folks have websites. You're using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter or X. Still call it Twitter. All right, we have 5 out of 9 people. Let's get a few more. So your website, Facebook, very good. So everybody has a website, which is awesome. It's a good place to be. Most people have a fair number of social media, and WhatsApp is a huge one, especially with programs and things like that's an easy one to work with as well. Okay, wonderful. So we have 7 out of 9. Um, okay, so I want to figure out how this like just this administrative correct, the administrative assistant that's showing up on my screen. Can you see it as well?
Yeah, I can see that as
I
well. I
have
was thinking.
I don't know how it's there. Is that like through Zoom? Like, did
No,
somebody manage to type on a whiteboard or something? Sorry, it's just
maybe.
distracting me, so I want to see if we can take it
Yeah,
off
like if you
somehow.
can remove that, that's perfect. I think like it's someone has tapped on Mandy.
Oh, I see. Okay. So so whoever put that on there, if you can take it off, that would really help me. Um, because I don't, and Kurt, if you can do anything about it, please do, but otherwise I'm going to move
Yeah.
on. Um, okay.
Yeah, you can carry on and I can just see like a
Okay.
quick.
Yeah, if you can check. Okay, so we're going to talk about what digital engagement is and why it matters. Um, So digital engagement essentially is connecting with your community online. You sort of want to keep that sense of what it is before we jump into how to do what and where to go. And, it gets very dizzying after a point to understand. So at the very basic level, it's about connecting with your community online, interacting, sharing, and building relationships through digital channels. It's not just about having a website or a social media page. Um, it's about showing up where your community is at, creating space for meaningful conversations about what matters to them, what matters to you, and making room for people to connect with your organization in a real, meaningful, human way. For those of us working with diverse communities, digital engagement also means thinking about language access, about accessibility, about cultural relevance and trust. Um, since 2020, many of us have been living and working more online than ever before. And according to Statistics Canada, by 2025, that's this year, the es they estimate that over 95% of Canadians, almost 38 million people, are expected to be online. So this isn't optional anymore. If we want to stay connected and relevant, we need to be able to engage effectively online, not just in person. Digital engagement can mean a lot of things, from service delivery to advocacy. But today we're going to focus specifically on communications. Okay, again, back to Menti. If if you're still on, which is great, I can see you guys still on. Um, in your own words, what is communication? Right? Don't Google or ChatGPT this. What is communication? Just the first thing that pops into your head. What is communication? Are we all on still on Menti, right? Like we have our windows open and things. Okay, great. Interaction, yes. Exchange of information, perfect. Yes, that's a good answer. Don't worry about I'm not going to judge you. Just say what comes to your mind. Connecting with the community you serve, information and getting feedback. Yes, perfect. That's correct. That's a good way to talk about it as well. Just whatever comes up for you. What do you think communications is? Anybody else? Don't be shy. I'm not judging. Okay. Oh, sorry. I saw someone else come in and I don't want to miss that. Maintaining channels of information sharing and feedback loop. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So at its core, and you guys had some good um, definitions in a way. So at its core, communications is a two-way process, right? There's a sender, they have something to send, which is a message. They use a channel of some kind. Right now, we are using Zoom. I'm speaking to you, so I'm using voice. I'm using a presentation, so there's a visual, and there I'm sending out some messages to you as the receiver. And you as a receiver are also sending us feedback, right? You're participating on Menti, maybe you're saying something in the chat, maybe you're here, maybe you're not here. And then you're using these channels, and that comes back to me, and then I send it over to you. So it's a kind of a it's a loop, right? Somebody mentioned about a loop when we were talking, and that's true. So it's a two-way process about to create shared meaning or a common understanding between the sender and the receiver. And if all goes well, there is shared meaning and common understanding, right? But more often than not, there's a lot of noise. And noise in communications means any disruptions that makes it harder to send, receive, or interpret messages. In online communications, noise can show up in all kinds of ways. You can have bad internet, you can have unclear language or information overload, even screen fatigue. It's anything that gets in the way of your message being clearly received. And when you're online, sometimes it can get fairly complicated. Sometimes it can be easier just speaking with people face to face. Our job is to cut through the noise. And being mindful of noise helps us create content that connects instead of confuses. We need to be able, the noise is always going to be there. There's always going to be some kind of noise, right? We need to be able to reach the folks we want to reach and find that common understanding, and also get people to take action. Now, in terms of noise, there could, while there are these physical kind of noises, noise, there could also be psychological, there could be physiological, like, there could be issues with access, issues with language, bias. So there are many different things that, can affect good communication. As an organization, it gets even more complex. You have many people involved, right? Each with our own communication styles, perspectives, and biases. And we're reaching out to a diverse audience. People might speak different languages, come from different cultures, and bring a wide range of lived experiences. That makes clear, inclusive communication both more important, but also more challenging. So, back on Menti, does your organization have a communication strategy? Yes, no, or not sure? Yes, wonderful, great, awesome. Okay, this is really good. So do you, and if you're willing to, just unmute and speak back, that would be great, because folks who've said that they do, and that's 6 of you, do you have access to the comm strategy? Do we know exactly what it is and what it entails? Anyone just want to jump in? Sorry, I don't see hands or anything, so, um, but if you did want to unmute and speak, that would be great. Is there anyone who could tell me a little bit more about where, the comm strategy of the organization?
At the Labor Education Center, we post a lot of things on social media in order to recruit participants for
Mhm.
our various programs.
Okay, thank you. Have you, is there like a document that explains, like, the mission, the goal, who the audience is, what messages, and how you're going to talk about your organization and things like that? Do you have any kind of documentation?
Definitely. Like we do have our mission and values on our website.
Right.
And I think that all of the staff that work at the Labor Education Center are quite like-minded in how they serve the clients. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there definitely is a message about um, like how we communicate with clients, specifically like being anti-oppressive and those kind of things.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks, Rhonda. Does anybody else want to share? All right. So I'm going to move on. So great. And we're gonna also talk a little bit about sort of what goes into sort of a clear communication strategy. We need to ask some questions. So this framework or method, it's called the 5 Ws and H, and a lot of us might know it. It essentially was used in journalism to write stories, and it's a kind of a tried and true tested method. So we have, it's also been applied to businesses, to organizations, and I use this a lot because I find that it's really easy and accessible. We're basically trying to ask 6 questions, right? So we want to ask 6 questions, and we want to ask them in this order, right? We need to understand who we are as an organization, who we're trying to reach, what we're trying to say. And most of us, we do have an understanding. There's a lot of folks in the organization that, like Rhonda was saying, we're pretty like-minded. We know what we're doing. We know how we've been doing it a long time. And that's awesome. And work gets done, right? When we move into a sort of online digital space, that's when you kind of see some cracks now and then, because maybe you may use a certain word, which is you didn't think was a problem, but then you could get into some issues with that, or you can, put out a heartfelt message that you meant very well, but then you've offended somebody, and that can come back to you and the organization as well. So it's really important to have a really clear strategy and have clarity on what we're doing. Otherwise, we get a bit lost in the noise. And as you know, social media and the internet is huge. There's new stuff happening all the time. There's giant machines with a lot of money, sort of actually literally like working with us, changing the algorithms, and all kinds of things. So it's really important when you get online, it gets fairly complicated, right? So it's important to have these questions kind of answered and build this foundation. Now, it's important to ask them in this order, because I find very often that people move very quickly to the how. So we have, someone will come up to me and be like, "Hey, I want to make a video for my program." That's great. Who is this for? And when I ask who something is for, folks are like, "Oh, it's for everybody." But if it's for everybody, then it's for nobody, because we don't know who you're talking to. You just sort of throw it out into the world, and we don't know what's happening. Like, where is that second loop of, the feedback that you need to get? So we want to talk about who you're communicating. Knowing your audience is important. What do you want them to know? Why? What is the goal of your, what do you want them to do, basically? Why should they care about your work, about your offering? When is the best time to reach them? Where are you going to reach them? What platform? And then how are you going to communicate? What is the method? So if you're going to reach somebody on Instagram, let's say your audience or your clients or participants are on Instagram, that's the where. The how would be, are you going to do a post? Are you going to do a reel? Are you going to do a story? So those are the 6 questions. And so I want to get a bit deeper, and we're gonna sort of ask these 6 questions for your own organization, for your work specifically even. Take a few minutes to think about, what you do, and you have a lot of this information because you're working with people, right? Like, you know who they are. So let's try and put in, let's answer some of these questions. So who are you trying to reach? Always start with your audience, always start with your receiver. Just like you do when you set up programs or you set up a project, you even like communications online is about reaching that person. It's about what they need. Who are they? What languages? What age group? What country? What are they looking for? What is the sort of gap there that they're coming to you for? So, and get a bit more specific. So this is great. Internationally educated nurses and other stakeholders is great. Is there more you can say? Right? Is there more you can say? Are they coming from all over the world? Is there specific groups? So we have newcomers. Again, that's nice. It's huge. It's a big audience. So let's break that down a little bit. Who are the sort of majority there? Where are they coming from? What is their age? Where do they live? We have marginalized, disadvantaged, underrepresented groups who are seeking good paying careers, especially in construction. Good. So this is getting a little more in depth, right? Like we're saying, okay, we're looking for folks from underrepresented groups, and you can clarify this even more and say which ones. And they want jobs in construction. Wonderful. Is there anything more you can say about them? Let's sort of break it down a bit more. Can you also say where they live? Can you say where, what kind of, are they online or not? Where do they actually find their information? Okay. Does anyone else want to add? We're at three folks. So audience breakdown is really important, and we have more often than not, we kind of have a nice broad of the nursing registration in Canada. Wonderful. So you've made that. So they are in the process of registering. So great. So like you can take this and go through. It's not an easy thing to do, right? You kind of have to break it down, but with the program information that you have, with the client information that you have, you can create a really good audience persona, right? You can go deep into this. You can think about what the opportunities are, what the challenges are, what their lived experience is, even what their biases might be, and how you would need to communicate with them, keeping some of that in mind, or keeping any kind of trauma in mind. Okay, great. So we have 4. Thank you, everyone who's answered. Next question, what do you want them to know? What do you want? You can think about this. You can think about this big or small, right? What do you want to communicate? What is the larger idea? Excuse me. Is it good? It's really good to be clear about what you want them to know. You want them to just know that you're there, and that they can come to you if they need, or is there a specific, let's say, a change in law, in the government, something has changed, for folks who are coming internationally, what kind of services are available to them? Yes, very good. Support and services. Okay. Is it possible to put down just for yourself, right? You don't have to do it here, but think about it for yourself when you do, like, what is exactly what you want to say? All of this will help you craft your message better. So if you say, support and services provided by the organization, it helps to actually be clear and say, okay, what those support services are, right? Put it down, and that will help you be clearer. So anybody else who'd like to add? What do you want them to know or do? Do you want them to come to a program? Do you want them to, the person who was talking about getting jobs in construction, what do you want them to know? What do they need right now? Okay. I'm gonna go through these. It does, I know it can be a bit daunting. Don't feel badly if it's suddenly feels like too much work. But essentially, these are the kind of things that you want to talk about. These are the kind of things you need to know to work on when you're creating comm strategy, right? So it's just sort of giving you an introduction to what goes into it. And if you take the time to sort of sit and think about it, I'm sure you'll come up with what you need. You want to give them resources. Yes, very good. That's really good. We want to feel supported and trained with. You want them to feel supported and trained with us. Wonderful. So that's really good, right? So just to sort of articulate the kind of things, the goals, like what is it you want out of this connection, right? So like for me today, I said I'd like to help you level up your digital communications. That's a giant goal, right? I could break it down a lot more. And maybe if we were in a group, we were doing a series, we could go very specifically to, okay, where are we at? What do we need? Where do we go? All right. Why should they care? What is the why of this whole exercise? Like, why do they need um, what they need, right? And then why should they care? And this is especially for when you're putting out comms, that where they're not already in program, let's say the ones, the potential ones. Why do they, what is the why? Anybody? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I know this can feel a bit much, even though they seem like simple questions. What is the value benefit for them? We can help them improve their financial situation, which will in turn boost their confidence. Very good. Yes, that's true. They can get the most up-to-date and accurate information. Wonderful. For the folks who are looking for jobs, of course, they want to get a job. They want to have better careers. They want to get get on with their lives and get more financially secure, things like that. For the international trained nurses, they want to be registered. They want to get working here, right? So yes, all good. And we're just going to do a couple of the others, like when is the right time to reach them? When you're engaging digitally, like you send out an email, you kind of have to know when the person is actually going to open that email, right? People are on their phones a lot. On average, people are on their phones for about like 4 hours or 5 hours a day or something like that. And often think about yourself and your own email and how many of those emails are actually opened? How many have you actually clicked through? So when you're working sort of digitally, it gets a bit harder, right? So when is the right time to reach them? Is it later in the day? Is it early in the day? Is it in the morning? Is it as they're going to work? When they're on the TTC, are they going to check it when they're on the bus? Are they more likely to check an email on Thursdays or on Wednesdays if it's a newsletter? If it's on social media, when can you check? When is a good time? And if you don't, you're not sure, that's fine. But these are some things does anybody have anything? It's okay if office hours, yes, perfect. Office hours is right. All times of day or night. Okay. If you're seeing that that's what's happening for people, that's where how people are responding, that's okay. Though all times of day or night may not quite be the best strategy, but sure. Anyone else? All right. I'm going to move through these a bit more quick. Oh, weekends. Okay, very good. Thank you. Weekends are better to reach, yeah. We find with our employment programs that people are pretty busy, or with our language programs, people are busy. So sometimes weekends are the only time. We were working with Filipino caregivers, And for them, the only time to connect was between jobs, right? They're going from one job to the next job, and that was the best time to connect with them. So, that's how we handle our programming and our services, and that's how we should also handle our communications. What platforms are your folks on already? You need to sort of choose the right ones, right? You don't have to be on everything. Um, if you're working with youth, then TikTok is big. I noticed that none of us were on TikTok at all. We are not either. We're right now trying to figure that out. And yeah, so which platforms, where are your folks online? Where are they? Do you reach them by, is it more email? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? Where are people? Anybody? I was hoping to have this a bit more interactive, but I can move on. It's not something we want to do. For us, it's mostly through email. Very good. It's good to know that. Social media, can you be more specific on the platforms? Is it different? Okay, Facebook, LinkedIn, email. Very good. Facebook. Lovely. Thank you very much. Okay. LinkedIn and Facebook. Awesome. Appreciate it.
And yeah,
All right. Yeah.
Carol, I mostly agree with them. Like the LinkedIn, I believe gets the more attention as compared to other platforms because, like mostly the people who are professionally engaged, they will look at
Yeah.
LinkedIn. But with the TikTok is also a good platform. Now we are also using that because
Oh, I
youth
see.
is mostly there. Yeah. Before
Right.
that, we didn't have, but we are now starting, and even Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram is like a middle of it, but like professionally, LinkedIn is a better option.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's different things for different goals, right? So
Yep.
I think like LinkedIn, if you want to connect professionally, if you're trying to hire people for the organization, if you're trying to connect with other folks who are looking for work, if those are the people you're connecting, LinkedIn is great. If
Mm-hmm.
you're like more of a service organization and you want to reach it also depends on who a lot of a lot of women between the ages of, I think, 30 to 60 or so are mostly are on Facebook more. Um, and also Instagram, right? Facebook has also kind
Yep.
of gone down a bit. It's more
Yeah.
for like sort of seniors. People have moved. Most people are kind of on Instagram these days for the social
Yep.
aspect of it,
Right. Yep.
and LinkedIn, of course, is great for.
Mm.
Uh, so you want to also think about what is the format, what is the method, right? Like posts are good for LinkedIn. Um, Video is really important for any kind of social media. So video for Instagram works better there. They keep changing the algorithms. So, in like 10 years ago, whatever, like a post would be fine, but just picture is no longer useful. You want to have that ability to interact. And when you're on Instagram, you have like, you know, um, ways to do polls and things like that. Okay, let's move on. I'm just also looking at the time. So it's 11:45. I'm just gonna go through these quickly, okay? Just so that you know what you have in place. I'll go through it quickly and at 12, I'm gonna stop and we're gonna take questions and try and see if we have something that's, more specific for you. Essentially, you want to have in your strategy, you need to have clear goals and audience. You need to have consistent messaging and visual identity. So most folks think that, okay, if it's a brand, then it's a logo, but a logo is not enough, right? A logo is not just your brand. Your brand is the colors, your brand is the tone. And you'll be surprised at how different people perceive these things. So you want to have that. You want to use the right platforms. Like I said, you want to use the right platforms to the right people. You can't, like young people are not on Facebook anymore. Seniors are more on Facebook. Seniors may not be on TikTok so much, or maybe they are now, with all the dances and everything. And then you want to know how to plan and schedule your content. Some of the principles you need to pay attention to, very important to know your audience. You want to keep it simple. You want to make space for community voice. Digital engagement, digital communications is not just about sort of putting stuff up or just us speaking. You want to bring the community in. You want to look at language and you want to make the media accessible for folks with disabilities. Focus on connection and not just content, right? That's really important. I'm going to jump to AI because I feel like maybe that's where a fair bit of interest is. Okay. Before, let me just go back here. Okay, what we're trying to do, we need to have a very clear foundation for our communications, and then we need to layer AI. If you jump straight into AI and you don't have a good strategy, you haven't figured out the basics and the foundation, that is going to fail, right? It's going to cause more trouble than it's worth. So it's really important that you do all of that work that we talked about before, or find somebody to do it, right, for you or for the organization, and that there is clarity. Okay, so AI is essentially technology that mimics human intelligence to do tasks like writing, summarizing, translating, or recognizing patterns. Think of it like a really fast assistant, very efficient assistant. It doesn't know your work the way you do, but it can help with the heavy lifting. I want to talk, just before we go forward, I do want to talk about AI a little bit and acknowledge something that's important. Like any powerful tool, AI has a cost, and not just in dollars. Generative AI tools like ChatGPT or image creators require enormous computing power. Now, that means more energy use, more data storage, and often more emissions. One estimate says that generating just one image with AI can use as much energy as charging a smartphone multiple times. Something else I read was about, something that you did could also be, it was like running your microwave for 10 hours, right? And these are just small little things, like especially the picture generation. And, it's so interesting when you get on there and look at the image and you want to look at a cat on a skateboard, or a cat on a sailboat or whatever. And every time you're kind of reworking this, it's taking up that much energy, right? And this is the new issue we're facing, connected to the climate crisis. So these tools rely on massive data sets and cloud computing. They often run in data centers that are powered by fossil fuels, depending on the region. So as we explore what AI can do for us, I want to invite you to think about, when to use it. When is it truly helpful? When it might be better for us to do things without it? Are we just kind of using it for entertainment? Are we using it for work? Even as I prepared for this session, I experienced a lot of guilt because I was like, oh my God, I don't know, am I just adding to the mess? But I think with anything else, it's really important for us to be mindful and work in accordance with our values, right? It's to be really clear about why and what is our value, and then we can hopefully use it well. Okay, AI is essentially simple, accessible tools that use artificial intelligence to help with everyday tasks. And this could be writing emails, editing videos, creating social media posts. It's already built into many tools that we use, like Gmail, Google Docs, Microsoft Teams, Outlook, Zoom, and Canva. this will help me. So those of you are on here quickly, and this is the last one I'm going to ask you to do. What everyday AI tools are you using already? Because you're probably using them already. If you're on Microsoft Teams, Outlook uses AI. Copilot, it's on there as well. Google Docs. Anybody using Canva? Anybody uses the Magic Write or the Magic Edit on Canva? Zoom has an AI companion. We had a bunch of AI readers, note takers come in today that we kicked out, interestingly, at an AI meeting. But I think we can wait for, we can deal with that a bit later. ChatGPT, a lot of ChatGPT folks here. Grammarly, very good. So this is great. So it's really nice to see that we're on there. And the truth is, those of us who may think that we're not using it, we are, because every time you look at your email and Outlook and it actually offers you suggestions. That's an AI. Okay. There's three types, essentially, for our purposes, three types of everyday AI. Narrow AI or weak AI is essentially ChatGPT, Grammarly, things like Google Translate. And the narrow AI essentially focuses on one specific task, right? Cleans up your writing, translates something, or suggests some responses. Generative AI is AI that makes new content, text, images, video, audio, and ChatGPT is also one of them when it's creating the content for you. And predictive AI or machine learning is, in Outlook, but also fundraising tools and CRMs, content resource managers. I can't remember what CRMs is. Anyway, so the predictive AI can take a lot of data, right? And it can give you good insight on the data. So we now have platforms where we can figure out what's happening with our client base, right? We have platforms that can tell us who is more likely to give money in the next year based on the data we have. Okay, what everyday AI can do? It can help you brainstorm content ideas. You go in and you speak to it and you say, hey, I wanna create a social media campaign for Pride Month, right? It can generate the whole thing for you. However, it's really important that you train the AI, right? So ChatGPT, when the first time I encountered AI was on Hootsuite. Hootsuite is a platform we use to do our social media, to schedule our posts and things. So the first time it was like, oh, hey, we have AI. So I asked it to generate a post for, like, I don't know, there was a program to the farm or something, a field trip. And it gave me a very sort of um, Toronto blogger or influencer type post, right? Or like a mom taking her kids to the park or something like that. And I was like, no, I had to tell it, no, we're a nonprofit organization. We do this. Can you tell me, could you change it? And so I had to keep telling it more about us. And by the end of it, it got the tone. It took 3 or 4 times, but it understood the tone. And ever since then, it knows who we are, right? And the more you talk to it, the more it knows. It can help you write, edit, and generate content. It can help you analyze data and provide insights into data. It can translate content. Translation is still, it's way better. Google Translate is way better. There are some other platforms that are better as well, but with caution. It can save time on repetitive tasks. That's a huge one. And it can assist you in research. Now, all of this, I want to give you a caveat because even when I was researching for this talk today, I had asked, for some reason, when I was talking about it, I had said 4 W's and H, right? With the 5 W's. I don't know when I was a mistyping or something. And we went through, it gave me a lot of information about 4 W's and H. And then later I was like, wait a minute, is it 4 or 5? So I asked it about 5 Ws. It gave me 5 information about 5 Ws. Then I said, is it 4 or 5? And it said, oh, the correct thing is actually 5 Ws and H, right? So AI can make mistakes. And it kind of is, especially generative AI, is what you put in is what you get out. So everything depends. Even there, I find that having clear communication helps. It helps the machine understand you better. It helps the machine know what you need. So I essentially talk to it like I'm talking to a person, and we have a pretty good relationship. So yeah, so that's some of the stuff that AI can do for you. AI works best when it builds on your digital engagement foundations, right? Otherwise, you just can't be sure of where you will go. So you need to be really clear that you're using AI and AI is not using you. If you know your audience, AI can help you phrase things clearly for them. If you've set goals, AI can help shape your content toward them. If you've created space for community voice, AI can help elevate, not overwrite those stories. What AI can't do is know your community's culture or needs. It cannot build trust relationships or engagement. It cannot understand what your goals, your values, the nuances of the folks that you work with are. Um, it cannot reflect trauma-informed inclusive language without your input, right? It will come to you as a very general kind of, give you a very general baseline. It has different personalities, and so, you can pick and choose. But you have to kind of keep working with it so that it will give you what you actually need. It cannot handle sensitive issues very well or responsibly. And it does not replace good communication strategy or team insight. AI is not a shortcut to meaning or connection. That still comes from you. I do want to just offer you a bit of the limits and the risks. So AI can have a lot of bias, can have discrimination, because if that's what goes in from different people, that's what is there, right? And actually, a group of some of the indigenous folk we work with at the organization, they are working on their own AI, because if you ask anything, if you ask questions about AI, about indigenous people, it doesn't have very good answers, right? So they are actually creating their own AI so that they can sort of tell the story in their way. Misinformation can happen. It's sort of pulling stuff from all over the internet, and there's a lot of stuff on the internet. So depending on where you live online, that, it can bring all of that in. There are issues with privacy and consent. Don't share anything that is sensitive on ChatGPT or anywhere else. You can end up being overly reliant. There is a huge issue in terms of job displacement and skill gaps, and you'll probably see this a lot with your programs, with your clients as you go along. A lot of areas are going to get hit. And honestly, personally, I don't think that should be the case, because AI should help us do our work better, not replace us. But in this capitalist economy and world, it will seem like, oh, AI can do it better. So we're going to see some of that happening. And of course, there is huge environmental impact. So it's not all doom and gloom. We can use AI responsibility. We can keep pushing, advocating so that we don't, we just don't let the tech giants and government sort of run all over us. We do have to push back. It's just one of those other areas. So we want to start with purpose. We want to stay human-centered. We want to be transparent and protect privacy. We want to check for bias and accuracy. You have to be involved with the AI. Don't let it take off, right? Because it can do just about anything. Minimize harm, people and planet. Upskill your team, right? AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's best that we figure out how we're going to deal with it, how we're going to learn, how we're going to use it. And also because we are folks in the nonprofit sector and we care about community and we care about social issues, we also have to look at how that affects all of that work and develop some guidelines for the organization. If you're not the person to do it, talk to the people who are supposed to do it, right? Okay, very quickly, key takeaways. I know it's been a lot and I've been talking a lot. If nothing else, digital engagement is about clarity and connection, right? Those are the two things you want to aim for. AI can support you, but it does not replace you. You want to start small and build your capacity over time. It can feel overwhelming because there's so many and there will be new ones coming every day. Start with what you have, right? Start with where you are and start with what you have. That is the best way to do anything. And always, always keep community and values, your organization's values at the center. You kind of, to me, having a real strong foundation, that's what will keep us going no matter what comes at us, right? So that's me for today. I hope that was helpful, but yeah, let's sorry, I just need to stop sharing. Let's see if folks have questions.
So members, I will be stop recording. So please feel free to unmute yourself, raise your hands, use the hand raise gesture, put in chat your questions. We have almost like 28 minutes left, but if folks are interested in asking the questions, please go